Hey guys, welcome back to Stock My Closet. For today's project, I have taken 1.5 meter rayon fabric and fabric width is 44 inch. And this is a measurement I'm using. You can adjust it according to your requirement. Firstly, I'll cut out the required length for the top. In my measurement, top length is 24 inch and I'm adding 1.5 inch for seam allowance. So I'll mark a point at 25.5 inch. Join these points and I'll just cut out the length. Now I'll cut one more length for back. So I've just placed the cutout piece on the fabric and I'll cut the same length. So I've cut two lengths, one for front and one for back. I'll cut front and back separately and I'll start with marking measurements on the back side. Firstly, I'll mark the top length, that is 24.5 inch. Now for shoulder, take half of shoulder width. In my measurement, shoulder width is 14 inch. Half of it will be 7 inch. Neck width is 3 inch. Mark half inch downwards for shoulder slope and join it to the neck width point. From this point, I'll mark half of armhole round, that is 7 inch in my measurement. I'm deducting half inch as this is sleeveless top. I'll just extend this point. Mark 1 inch inwards for front armhole curve and join it to the shoulder slope point. From shoulder, mark a point at 11 inch shoulder to bust measurement, 15 inch shoulder to waist measurement, and the length of top. Now I'll mark the round measurements. For chest, I'm adding 2 inch of ease. In my measurement, chest round is 35 inch. 35 plus 2 is 37 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 9.25 inch. For burst, I'm adding 3 inch of ease. In my measurement, burst round is 36 inch. 36 plus 3 is 39 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 9.75 inch. For waist, again I'm adding 3 inch of ease. In my measurement, waist round is 30 inch. 30 plus 3 is 33 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 8.25 inch. I forgot to mark the hip measurement. From shoulder, mark a point at 21 inch. Shoulder to hip measurement. For hip, I'm adding 6 inch of ease. In my measurement, hip round is 38 inch. 38 plus 6 is 44 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 11 inch. I'm making A-line top, so I won't give waist shape. I'll just mark the straight line from bust to hip and extend it till bottom like this. Now I'll mark back pleats. From shoulder, I'll mark the dart point, that is 10.5 inch for my measurement. And from on full side, mark a point at 3.5 inch. Dart length is 9 inch. And again, I'll mark a point at 3.5 inch. And I'll join these points. Now mark the center point on the dart. Dart length is 9 inch, so center will be half of it, that is 4.5 inch. From this center point, mark half inch on both sides and I'll join all the points. So this is a back dart. I'll trace it on the other side as well. I'm adding around 1.5 inch for seam allowance as 1 inch will go in the dart. Now I'll draw front and back armhole curves. And now I'll draw the neckline. Neck width is 3 inch and neck depth is 4 inch, adding half inch for seam allowance. So I'll mark a point at 4.5 inch. Again mark neck width point 3 inch. Join these points and I'll draw a round shape. Now you can keep the bottom as it is or you can give slight curve shape. It's your choice. I'll just place the curve ruler and I'll give slightly curved shape on the bottom. So marking is complete and I'll cut it out. So I've cut the back, now I'll cut the front. For front, I have the same length, 25.5 inch, and I've folded the fabric by half in width, and I'm taking open side as center. Now from the center, I'll mark a point at half inch for seam allowance as I'm making placket top. Join these points. And now taking this line as center, I'll place the back. And now I'll cut it out. I'll just mark tuck on the hip point and I'll make slits from hip to bottom. Now I'll draw front neckline. Neck width is 3 inch. Neck depth is 7 inch, adding half inch for seam allowance. So I'll mark a point at 7.5 inch. Again mark neck width point, that is 3 inch. Join these points and now I'll draw neckline shape. So I've cut the neckline and front armhole curve. I've cut two fabric strips as placket for front. Length is 1.5 inch more than the top length. I've taken button placket width 3 inch and buttonhole placket width 2 inch. Now place the placket on the top right sides together and pin it up. It's your choice. If you want, you can also use pasting buckram on the placket. I've shown both ways, with and without pasting buckram. It's preferable to use pasting buckram as it gives proper support to buttons and buttonholes. So I've placed both plackets on the bodies right sides together and I have pinned it up, and now I'll make a stitch to secure it. So I made a stitch. Now I'll fold and iron the plackets. This is buttonhole placket. I'll just fold the seam allowance on the outer edge and I'll iron it, and I'll fold the whole placket inwards like this. To secure the placket, I'll do hemming as it gives more finishing. So I did the hemming and this is how it will look. Similarly, I'll fold and iron the button placket. I've folded 1/4 inch of seam allowance on the outer edge. Now fold the placket by half and iron it. Now I'll make stitch on the edge to secure it. And this is how the placket will look. I'll trim the excess length, just extend the neckline shape and cut out the placket. Now I'll finish the neckline, and for that I have cut out the rectangular piece from the same fabric. Place it below the neckline. Now I'll draw neckline and shoulder slope on the facing and I'll cut it out. Now place the facing on the neckline right sides together and make a stitch on the neckline shape. So I made a stitch. Now I'll make small cuts all around the neckline and I'll fold the facing towards the wrong side. So I've folded and ironed the facing on the wrong side, and now I'll do hemming to secure it. So I finished the neckline on the other side, and with this front bodice is ready. Now I'll finish the back bodies. Firstly, I'll stitch the darts and I'll finish the back neckline using bias tape. So I made a stitch on the darts. Don't make back and forth stitch on the starting and end points of the dart. Just leave the long tail of thread and tie a knot to secure the thread. It will give more finishing to your dart. So just make 2 or 3 knots and cut out the extra thread, and this is how it will look. I finished the neckline and now I'll place back on the front, right sides together, and I'll stitch shoulder slope and side fitting seam on both sides. So I'm making side fitting seam till the hip point, that is the starting point for slits. So I made a stitch and now I'll finish the slits. So I've folded and pinned up the slits, and now I'll make a stitch to secure it. So I've finished the slits, now I'll finish the bottom round. I have folded and pinned it up, and now I'll make a stitch on the inner edge to secure it. Now I'll attach buttons and I'll make buttonholes. I'm done with buttonholes and I've also attached the buttons, and this is how it will look. Now I'll cut and attach the sleeves. I'm making ruffle sleeve, and for that I have cut out the required width, that is 4 inch, and I have taken whole width of fabric and I have folded the fabric twice in width. So here I have 4 layers of fabric. From on-fold side I'll mark a point at 4.5 inch. This is for gathers and you can change it as per your choice. If you want more volume you can add to it, and you can deduct if you want less volume. Mark 1.5 inch on the armhole like this. This will be the starting point of the ruffle. You can change it as per your choice. Now measure the armhole till this point. This is 6.75 inch. And now I'll mark the same point on the sleeve. Join these points. Bottom seam allowance is 1.25 inch. Mark 1 inch upwards and join these points, adding 1 inch of seam allowance on the sides and half inch on the top side, and I'll cut it out. I'll make finishing seam on the sides and the bottom, and on the top side I'll make basting stitch to add gathers. I have trimmed the seam allowance on the bottom by ½ inch. Firstly, I'll finish the bottom round. Fold the seam allowance twice like this and make a stitch on the inner edge to secure it. So I've finished the bottom round. Now similarly I'll finish the sides. So I finished the sides, and now I'll make a basting stitch on the top side of the sleeves. I have marked center tuck. So I made a basting stitch. Now pull the bobbin thread to add gathers. So I finished the sleeve. Now I'll attach it with the top. Now join ruffle with the armhole, right sides together. Place the bias tape on the top of ruffle and pin it up. Now continue joining all three pieces together and pin it up. So I have marked starting and end points for ruffle on the armhole. Join ruffle till that point and continue joining bias tape with the armhole. So I've pinned up the ruffle and bias tape, and now I'll make a stitch on the armhole to secure it. So I've attached the ruffle and this is how it will look. Now I'll finish the bias tape. Fold the bias tape towards the wrong side like this and make a stitch on the edge. So I made a stitch. Now I'll trim the extra fabric, and now I'll fold the bias tape towards the wrong side and I'll make a stitch on the edge to secure it. So I made a stitch, and with this my placket top is ready, and this is how it looks. I really love this pattern. It looks very elegant and I like the look and feel of ruffle sleeves. So thanks for watching guys. I really hope you will find this video helpful. Do share your reviews in the comment section, and if you try it, do share your creations with me on social media. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and do subscribe my channel for more such videos. And I'll see you next week. Till then, take care. Bye bye.